You probably know that you need to talk to your kids about drugs and alcohol, but you may need to warn them about the dangers at an even younger age than you think.
A 10-year-old Sioux Falls boy nearly died from alcohol poisoning this summer. He says he drank after some older kids pressured him into it. In tonight's KELOLAND News investigation, Angela Kennecke has an exclusive interview with the boy and his mother. We were also granted access to his medical records because his mother is calling into question the response by Sioux Falls health systems to help her son.
Jaden Bruyere recently turned 11 years old and began 6th grade. He's still very much a kid. He loves lizards and wants to be a vet when he grows up. History is his favorite subject in school.
History about war, like the Korean War is my favorite, the Forgotten War. That's what they called it, because not that much people know about it, and most of it is just kind of crazy. I like it, and like the World War II was kind of crazy too.
Jaden recently had a crazy experience no one would expect, least of all his mom.
I was panicked. I had no idea what was going on with my son.
On July 26th, Cassandra Bruyere let Jaden go to the park with his cousins, ranging in age from 8 to 15. When they returned, she left to go pick up the kids' pizza, leaving the older cousins in charge. When she got back with the food, Jaden was no longer playing outside.
And when I walked in and he was asleep with the blanket over his head and he asked for pizza and didn't want none all of a sudden, that set off an alarm bell.
She tried to get him up.
So when I pulled the blanket over his head, I smelled a stench. And when I smelled that stench, I'm like, what is that? The cousins initially said it was rubbing alcohol. And I'm like, no, that is not rubbing alcohol.
She got Jaden to stand up and go outside with her.
And I started asking him questions, and he didn't want to answer them. He was being very evasive, saying, well, we found it at the park. And then it went from, we found it at the park, to my cousin got it from somebody that was walking through the park.
I kind of wanted to say something, but if I did, I would probably know that they would probably get angry at me. And like knowing the facts that I didn't want to tell, and that knowing that they would probably get angry at me is what kept me away from telling my mom.
Jaden wasn't able to speak for long.
In 10 minutes, that alcohol set in so fast that he just dropped to the ground with a thud.
She called 911.
It was like I was in this horrible nightmare that I couldn't even imagine.
Hospital records show when he was brought into the ER, Jaden was thrashing on the gurney, groaning and gagging and mumbling, "Help me, I can't breathe, and I love you."
And whenever he was saying that, I was so scared because I didn't know if I was going to have my son at the end of the night.
Hospital records show that Jaden had a blood alcohol level of 0.214, nearly 3 times the legal limit for an adult. Jaden is only 60 pounds.
And when I seen them put him on the breathalyzer and they intubated him, that was the moment that scared me the most, because that let me know that what he did to his little body was so much damage.
Jaden was in critical condition for an hour due to acute alcohol intoxication and delirium.
I'm not sure what it is.
Jaden doesn't remember much about being in the hospital, but he does remember being offered the alcohol by his older cousins.
What made you say yes, do you think?
Like me not looking like a fool to them.
Jaden explained that his older cousins mixed cans of beer with Gatorade and told him to chug it.
They had three half-drunken Gatorade bottles. So then they put 2 of the cans in the water bottle, and then they put half of the Gatorade in there, and then they mixed it up, like shaking it almost. They were drinking too. It wasn't just me, it was my cousins too.
Police were notified and Jaden was treated and released from the hospital, but no one got in trouble for providing him with the booze.
Anybody get charged or arrested for contributing?
No, there's no charges, no arrests.
Jaden ended up making 2 more trips to the hospital, one for shortness of breath and then a few days later for behavioral problems when his mother made him do chores as punishment for drinking. Instead, he banged his head to the ground. His mother thinks it was lasting effects from the alcohol.
I believe that he should have been kept longer until he was in a more sober state. I believe he should have had inpatient counseling immediately.
According to Jaden's records at Sanford Health, a behavioral health specialist evaluated Jaden and agrees that this patient is not safe for discharge. Avera Behavioral Health was contacted in regard to admission to the behavioral health unit, but records show that Avera will not admit this patient at this time. The Sanford doctor writes, "I do not believe the patient is appropriate for discharge and could be a danger to himself or others." Jaden was admitted to the Children's Hospital overnight but was discharged the next day. Sanford did arrange for an appointment with a counselor from Southeastern Behavioral Health to follow up a few days later. Cassandra doesn't think that's enough.
Nobody seems to understand that this is not a joke. My son was 10 and he almost passed away.
We've got two health systems in this community. Did they let you down?
Yes, they let my son down immensely. The trauma of waking up in that condition and still being inebriated is enough to get mental health help.
Cassandra works 3 jobs but can't afford private insurance and relies on Medicaid.
You're right.
She questions if that's the reason her son wasn't admitted for inpatient treatment. Meanwhile, she wants to send out a warning to parents to talk to their children about the dangers of alcohol at an early age.
We're not always guaranteed tomorrow, so if you got a chance to talk to your kids heart to heart, do it.
I'll never do it again because that scared me. It's still kind of, I still cry from it sometimes, knowing that my mom loves me still and been basically trying to save my life, knowing that she cared.
And he has a message for his peers in middle school where he's already hearing about vaping, marijuana, and alcohol.
If you're thinking about the drink, if you're like the age of me, don't do it. It's gonna mess you up and you're gonna regret it after. You're not gonna like it. It's not gonna be fun for you.
We reached out to both healthcare systems, Sanford and Avera, to ask them about Jaden's case and why he was not admitted for more help. We received generic statements from both health systems that did not address this situation specifically. We've posted them for you to read online on this story.